If you drive along Highway 99, through the dusty heart of America's richest state, you will see them. Massive, concrete monoliths rising out of the almond orchards. Giant viaducts that stretch for miles, hovering over dry riverbeds. They look like ancient Roman ruins, or perhaps the skeleton of a civilization that hasn't been born yet. These concrete giants were supposed to be the symbols of the future. They were supposed to carry bullet trains screaming at 220 miles per hour, connecting Los Angeles to San Francisco in under 3 hours. They were supposed to be America's answer to Japan's Shinkansen and France's TGV. But today, they carry nothing. There are no tracks. There are no wires. There are no trains. This is the story of the California High-Speed Rail. It is the most expensive infrastructure project in United States history. It was promised to cost $33 billion. But the price tag has now exploded to over $128 billion. It was promised to be finished by 2020, but today the completion date has been pushed to unknown. It is a story of a dream that collided with reality. A story where engineering met politics, and in that conflict, the dream lost. The year was 2008. The iPhone was brand new. Barack Obama was elected president. And in California, voters were presented with a beautiful vision. Proposition 1A. The politicians told the people, traffic in LA is hell, flying is a hassle. Give us $9 billion in bonds, and we will build a world-class high-speed rail system. They promised it would be cheap. They promised it would be profitable. They promised it would be fast. The voters said yes, but they didn't read the fine print. The promise was based on a map that looked perfect on paper, a straight line shooting down the state. But California is not a piece of paper, it is a geological nightmare. To get from San Francisco to Los Angeles, you have to cross the Tehachapi Mountains, a rugged, seismically active wall of granite. Engineers knew this was difficult. But the politicians insisted it was easy. They sold a budget of $33 billion. But independent experts warned that tunneling through earthquake zones would cost triple that amount. The warnings were ignored. The project was approved. The check was signed. But having money is not the same as having a plan. When you build a railroad, logic dictates you start where the people are. You start in Los Angeles or San Francisco, where millions of commuters are desperate for relief. But California did the opposite. They decided to start construction in the Central Valley, a rural agricultural region between Merced and Bakersfield. Critics called it the train to nowhere. Why start there? Because it was politically easier. The land was cheaper. There were fewer skyscrapers to knock down. But easier did not mean easy. The state assumed the farmers in the valley would happily sell their land for the greater good. But the farmers fought back. They sued. They refused to sell. The state needed thousands of parcels of land. But years into the project, they had secured only a fraction of them. Bulldozers sat idle. Contractors were paid millions of dollars to do nothing, waiting for lawyers to finish arguing in court. The shovel-ready project became a lawyer-ready disaster. In the early days, California realized they didn't know how to build high-speed trains, so they called the experts, the French National Railway Operator, SNCF. These were the people who built the TGV. They knew how to move people fast. The French engineers came to California. They looked at the map. They proposed a direct route along the I-5 highway. It was straight, efficient, and cheap. But the local politicians said no. Every town mayor, every congressman, and every special interest group wanted the train to stop in their city. Palmdale wanted to stop. Fresno wanted to stop. The route began to twist and turn like a snake, diverting miles out of the way to please local politicians. The French were horrified. They explained that a high-speed train cannot be high-speed if it has to turn corners and stop every 20 minutes. They told California, "You are prioritizing politics over physics." But nobody listened. So in 2011, the French gave up. They packed their bags and left for Morocco. They told the press that it was easier to build a bullet train in the shifting sands of North Africa than in the political swamp of California. And they were right. Morocco opened its high-speed rail in 2018. California is still pouring concrete. The biggest conflict, however, is not political, it is physical. The original plan required tunneling through the San Gabriel and Tehachapi Mountains. But as years passed, the geological reality set in. The rock was harder than expected. The fault lines were more dangerous than predicted. To build these tunnels safely would require engineering miracles that haven't been invented yet, and miracles are expensive. The budget began to spiral out of control. $33 billion became $64 billion. $64 billion became $77 billion. $77 billion became $98 billion. And now, estimates suggest it could reach $128 billion. The promised ticket price of $50 dropped the promise of profitability, but without profit, private investors, who were supposed to pay for the rest of the project, walked away. The state was left holding the bag. So why not stop? Why not look at the $100 billion price tag and say, we made a mistake? Because of the sunk cost fallacy. The politicians argue, we have already spent billions. We have already built these giant viaducts in the valley. If we stop now, that money is wasted. We must finish. But finishing seems impossible. The current plan has been scaled back drastically. The bullet train might not even reach San Francisco or Los Angeles for decades. The initial operating segment will only connect Merced to Bakersfield. It will act as a very fast, very expensive shuttle bus for a route that most people drive in their cars. The dream of zipping from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Hollywood sign in 2 hours is dead. California high-speed rail was supposed to be a monument to American ingenuity. It was supposed to prove that the U.S. could still build big things. But instead, it has become a monument to dysfunction. It stands as a warning to the world. It proves that you can have all the money, all the concrete, and all the dreams in the world. But if you let politics drive the engineering, if you ignore the geography, and if you lie about the costs, you won't get a bullet train. You will get exactly what stands in the Central Valley today, a billion-dollar bridge that starts in a field, ends in an orchard, and connects absolutely nothing,